I was supposed to go live yesterday. I have been relaxing and chilling. Make sure when you hop on this post, make sure you like and share on this post. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, right? Make sure you click the link below to get to my free trading community, right? Those are the main things, check marks that you want to get from this video. Um, yeah, Ali, count your days, man. Like I like Ali, right? Ali. I started off with Ali Bank. I'm a well-known customer at Ali Bank, right? And just like I say, it's just a disclaimer. This is not nothing bashing Ali Bank, right? Just certain things. Certain banks are used for certain things, right? Um, Certain platforms, trading platforms, should only be used for certain things, right? And what I mean by that, what I mean by certain brokers should be used for certain things, well, I explain it like this. People start to talk about um, Robinhood, right? Let's talk about Robinhood. They say that they heard so many bad. I heard just now heard this. They say they heard so many bad things about Robinhood, right? But people still use Robinhood, but it's what you use Robinhood for. So that's why I say that some brokers you just need to use that for certain trading, and other brokers you just need to use for other trading because Robinhood per se, I would not, right, buy long-term stocks in Robinhood. Just my opinion, right? This is just for educational purposes, right? Um, Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all comment below what broker you're using, or if you need to get into trading, comment trading, man. And the links will be below to get inside my free trading group. So yeah, but we're going over brokers today. Of course, I'm always trying out brokers. I'm always expressing my opinion on different brokers that may help the next person, right? That may help the next person, no, not miss out on a trade, right? Not miss out on some money, right? Because Ali did make me a little upset, so upset that I did not actually get back into the market that week, which I should have. If I would have got back into the market, it would have been at least a 2,500 to $5,000 profit gain if I did get back into the markets. But me exercising emotional intelligence when it comes to trading, right? When it comes to trading, emotional intelligence is key, right? Because I didn't let Ali that didn't close out my trade on time. I ended up losing the trade. But what I can say good about Ali is why I use Ali is because they have nice interest rates on their savings accounts, right? So I'm actually able to trade, you know, um, stock options. I'm actually able to trade stocks and actually be able to put that in a high interest savings account, right? One of my strategies. So just gave out a nugget: high interest savings accounts, right? Options to high interest savings accounts. That's how you should be circulating your money, if you are getting into this room, right? This investment room, I should say. But emotional intelligence is key, right? But what I let my emotional intelligence do to me was the simple fact that I didn't get back into trading, right? I didn't get back into um, stock options that week, right? Because what happened was that I was trading stock options, right? And I have a strategy to where, I get in and get out 400 to $2,500 a day, right? And I was exercising that strategy, right? But what Ali did, right? Main thing of this video is what Ali did is they did not close out my trade when I confirmed it, right? Now, there's a couple factors that could have happened, right? And there's a couple factors that could have happened because on why it didn't close out. But I tried to test it out. I tried to do the next day. I even tried to do a closeout in the negatives or at a loss, and it still didn't close out, right? So to me, I'm wondering, it couldn't have been the area that I was in, because I was going to blame it in the area that I was in, right? I was going to blame it on the simple fact of where I was at didn't have internet service, so it could have glitched. I give it the benefit of the doubt, right? But what was happening really was is Ali really was not letting me close out my option trade, right? So I say that to say this. I'm not bashing Ali for what they did, but at the same time I did lose out on money, by not getting out the trade when I click to get out the trade, right? So really when I'm looking at Ali as not really my top stock option trading account, right? I'm looking at Ali as more of my long-term trading account. I started Ali broker for penny stocks, right? And the penny stocks, I made a lot of money on penny stocks. But the only other thing that I also noticed about Ali Bank was great savings accounts, right? High interest, right? That's the good thing about it. They got great accounts for penny stocks, right? But I started to trade stock options in there. I only traded stock options in there a couple times, just to test it out to see how that broker moves. And as I look at it and as I do this video, I'm letting y'all know that Ali Bank, has great products, right? But when it comes to stock options, I'm going to use other brokers like the Charles Schwabs, like the Weebles, like the like I was touching on at the beginning of this video was, Robinhood. Robinhood is really only good for stock options, right? Disclaimer, this is just an educational video. This is not any financial advice, but these are just the experiences that I actually, exercise in my trading career, right? I literally go do different brokers, sign up for different brokers, and see how they actually operate. I do that with Forex. I do that with cryptocurrency. I do that with stock options. I do that with stocks, right? But some accounts are only good for certain instruments, right? Certain assets, right? So Ali, Weeble, um, Ali and Weeble, I would say, and Robinhood are, although Weeble and Robinhood good for just stock options, right? I will not be holding any long-term stocks in those portfolios, in those brokers, right? I will only be using those for stock options and withdrawals, right? Then you get to the alleys, right, or the Charles Schwabs, where the Charles Schwab, I love Charles Schwab, right? The reason being, I can trade any stock in Charles Schwab. I haven't had any, bad uh, bad trades that were not closing or stalling out of buying, stocks and things like that with Charles Schwab. So I like a good Charles Schwab, and the fact that Charles Schwab updates, right? Charles Schwab um, updates right away, right? So say the market hops on at 9:30 every morning, right? Because it does, right? The difference between Charles Schwab and Ali is the simple fact that Charles Schwab updates right when the market hops on. So you're in the positive. You're right when the market hops on. It's actually you actually shows that in your account. All right. So Ali, on the other hand, has a delay, right? Ali has a delay when the market hops on, right? It may show it doesn't really update your balance until 15 minutes after, right? 15 minutes after you place your trade, right? So 15 minutes after you place your trade, it's gonna just sit there and it's just gonna look at you, right? And your balance is gonna be, pretty much what you started with, right? And I didn't like that. I don't like that delayed reaction of how much money is actually in my account, because when it actually updates, that means you will have less money inside your account. So that was my main worry when I made the 2,500 on Meta, right, in one day. I was like worried that, if I held that in there, or what if it would have did the same thing that it did before? It didn't close out, right? Or, but it's gonna eventually close out because stock options expire. So I mean that's really just my main gripe of, Ali, is the fact that they did not close out my trade in time, and I actually lost money instead of making money, and then it actually my um, got me into my uh, emotional intelligence, right? It helped me practice my emotional intelligence. So I didn't get in for that week, but at the end of the week, closer to, like, I could have made that times 10, right? Because Meta was what happened to be up like $50 when I looked at it last at the end of last week. So I was like, oh darn, I missed out on money, right? And I don't like to really miss out on money, but at the same time, I'd rather miss out on money than lose money, right? And that's the main thing. You want to make sure that you don't miss out. If you miss out on money, don't be anxious to actually, um, don't be so anxious to actually hop in a trade and get money, right? Because there's going to be money opportunities always in the markets, right? There's going to be money opportunities always in the markets. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to this channel. Make sure y'all comment below, right? Um, Make sure y'all tap in with us to where we go to the link below. The link below will get you to my free channel, right? And get you to my free channel. So I need y'all to tap in with us. I need y'all to share this information. Was breaking down different brokers, breaking down different things when it comes to Allie, um, when it comes to your brokers, right? Stock brokers, right? Just like I said, Allie just is a good broker. They're a good bank. I will only use Allie for long-term stocks and penny stocks. I'm not really gonna trade options like that with Allie anymore. But Charles Schwab is actually good for long-term stocks. They're good for penny stocks, and they're actually good for stock options. I've had great I've had great reviews with stock options with all of those brokers. And the only ones I would do with stock options would be um, Robinhood and Webull, right? No long-term stocks in those, right? But um, you can do long-term stocks in Charles Schwab, Allie. Allie is good for penny stocks, right? Charles Schwab is good for like you know all all trading when it comes to that. I haven't actually traded futures with them yet, but I haven't really exercised futures with them yet. But I have exercised everything else with them, whether it be penny stocks, whether it be you can't trade forex. You got to have your own broker with forex. But go to go to my page currently, and you can see what brokers I have for forex. And you can also get inside the my free channel in the actual link below, and it'll actually show you how to set up these brokers and all that good stuff. But Jeremy Glover, the Resilient Banker, over and out. Peace.